I am Greg Blackall. I'm one of the broker managers here with Florida Luxury Realty. And today we're going to talk about some daily routines, business products, and tools to help you guys find success in your business. So how do you set yourself up for success? This is kind of the overreaching theme of what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to discuss some good daily routines. We're going to talk about the differences between successful and unsuccessful agents. And then we're going to review the tools and products that are offered by Florida Luxury to help you be more successful in your business. Sound like a pretty good plan? All right. So how do you create a routine in your business? I'll ask you guys, what do you do to create a routine?
Google Calendar.
Okay. What else?
Follow it religiously.
Do you make yourself get out of bed on time? Not smack your alarm? You know, sometimes the hardest part of creating a routine is just getting started and getting out there and doing it. So, what time of day is typically best for prospects? Why?
Be fresh.
Now, what are some advantages or disadvantages of prospecting at that time? So, in the morning.
You're fresh, but they may not be.
Okay. That's valid. What else?
They could be at work or going or in transit.
Yeah. It might not be a great time for them. What else?
You may not get an answer. Really sleep, not even up.
Okay. Do you run the risk of waking somebody up with a phone call? You think that's going to go well? No. What about certain days of the week? Do you think there are better days of the week than others for prospecting?
Definitely.
Definitely.
Okay.
Sure, you're supposed to say Saturday is the best day.
I would say the weekend. Yeah, I would say the weekend because typically, usually they're off.
Yep. So I have found that when I make prospecting calls on Monday morning, I tend not to have the same level of success that I do other days of the week. Typically on Monday, people are kind of getting back into their routines. They're having a Monday, right? So what we want to do is just track it. Now, some people have great success. First thing Monday morning, hit the prospecting, get it done. For me and my business, that just hasn't been the case. So, it kind of makes sense to pay attention and go, hey, when I call on Thursday, 70% of the people pick up the phone and I have a good conversation. On Monday, maybe it's 10%. Well, then maybe on Mondays, there's something else I should be doing that would be a better use of my time. So where should you create and keep your task list and your reminders?
Everywhere.
Google Calendar?
Yeah, Google Calendar.
Okay, where else?
Your mirror.
I'm gonna push this shut. What about a notebook?
It doesn't really do anything for me.
Okay. There are some agents, like my wife, that have her task list. She's got it in her notebook. It's every single day. That's her planner. Her entire life is in that planner. I cannot get her to use a Google Calendar scheduler. Good morning. Now, if you're an individual or if you're a team, does it make a difference whether you're using paper or whether you're using electronic?
Yes.
Definitely.
You can't send it to your team on paper.
You can't share it.
You can't coordinate in real time.
Right. And that's something that we found out, especially now that my wife is doing real estate, is if she has something on her paper calendar and I get a call that goes, oh, can you do a listing appointment tomorrow at 3? Well, I pull out my Google Calendar and go, yeah, I don't see anything on there. Sure. And then I send it to her on the Google Calendar and she goes, oh, well, I've already got an appointment at 2:30. Well, since there's more than one of us, when she's doing it by herself, absolutely, that works fine. But if there ever has to be any sort of coordination, you want to be able to have a shareable media. Now, how much time in your day should you be spending working your sphere of influence and doing prospecting? What do you think?
I try to set aside about 2 hours.
Okay. What do you guys think?
I think it should be all day, kind of just like everyday life. When you're out and you see something.
Well, that's part of it. But on your calendar, you want to block it off where you're making your phone calls, you're doing your prospecting.
Say about 4 hours.
Okay. What do you think, Seth?
I'm gonna second him on the 2 hours.
2 hours? What do you think?
Yeah, 2 hours.
So the rule, every real estate coach that I've ever talked to has said basically 90 to 120 minutes is how much time you should be prospecting per day. So carving out an hour and a half to 2 hours that is just your dedicated prospecting time. What happens is the first half hour, you're just getting going. You're not going to handle objections as well. So when I set my priority, my first hour is typically people I know. I don't necessarily have to be 100% when I'm calling a good friend, just having a conversation. My second hour is when I would call for buyers or for sale by owner, because at that point, I'm in my rhythm, I got my game, I'm good. So that's where the 2 hours kind of comes in, is you.
See, I actually have the opposite issue. I start off really strong, but by the end of the 2 hours, I am still burned out.
Running out of gas. So, and you know that about yourself, so you can kind of make adjustments. Again, this is all very subjective. So what works for me may not work for you. What works for Tiana may, just that's how it goes. Now, is this an appointment that should be set in stone in your calendar?
Yeah, otherwise you don't do it.
Yeah.
So what I found when I was establishing this early on is it was always the first thing that I would go, oh, Mr. Buyer, do you want to meet at 9:30? Sure, I can meet you at 9:30, and I don't do my prospecting. Well, what happens? Okay, cool. Now I've got 2, 3, 4 deals in the pipeline. Those 4 deals close, and I haven't done prospecting in 2 weeks. Well, what happens? Well, now I'm 90 days behind again because I've got to start from ground zero and do it again. And that's what a lot of agents get caught in the trap with is, oh, awesome, I've got all this business going, I'm going to stop prospecting. Well, no, that's the worst thing you can do. When you're busy, that is absolutely when you want to keep prospecting because you're excited, you've got stuff going, that's when you want to keep it going. But in real estate, we find a lot of agents that have these really high peaks and then really deep valleys. Oh, I had 4 closings this month, and then I don't close anything for 90 days. And then, oh, I closed 4 more deals, and then I don't close for 90 days. Because we hit those peaks and valleys because we stop doing what we need to do to keep business going. Some agents go, well, I'm so busy, I don't know that I could handle any more business. Well, you have to understand the prospecting that you're doing today isn't necessarily going to get you business today. It may get you business next week, next month, in 6 months. And sometimes this prospecting, for example, my wife had a closing on Tuesday, and that client was like, oh, my best friend is looking to buy a house in 6 months. Okay, great. What do you think I did? Put a reminder on my calendar for 4 months from now or 3 months from now to reach out to that friend and go, hey, so you want to buy a house in the next 90 days? Let's get started. Let me get you to a lender. Let me get you, all these things that need to be done. But that's a deal that's now sitting out there for third quarter. So I'm working on generating business for the second half of the year today. That's why prospecting is so important. So that's my big challenge is when you guys have tons of business going, keep doing this. It may seem counterintuitive, but it will help you have these little peaks and valleys rather than these giant peaks and valleys. If I can stay at 80%, if I'm 0% down here, 100% up here, if my peaks and valleys go from 70 to 90, that's a lot more predictable than, sweet, I made $30,000 and then I have nothing for 3 months. And oh, cool, I made 15 grand and then I have nothing for 3 months. Like, if I can keep 2 or 3 deals a month going, then at least it's more consistent, more reliable income. And that's where a lot of people go, well, I can't do real estate. I've got to go have a real job because I need the predictability of that paycheck, every other Friday or twice a month or whatever it is. Where if you can start building these habits, and that's what intensity is really good about, start setting these habits, then you're going to set yourself up to be able to stay kind of at that optimum. I mean, we're all going to have peaks and valleys. As long as I've been in the business, I still have 60 days where I don't close the deal. It happens. Deals fall apart, to the best of our abilities, things still happen. So that's my challenge is you should be continuing to work on this and it should be set in stone. You short of like a kid is bleeding or like I'm heading to the hospital, you do your prospecting. Now, at this point in the intensity challenge, what habits are you guys developing that you didn't have before?
A lot.
Okay. Like, give me two.
Prospecting daily.
Okay.
Asking the right questions. Yeah.
Okay, that's a big one.
Scripts is definitely a big one.
Okay.
Previewing properties that are in my local area.
Understanding a farm area. Good.
To be honest, I can't go that far. I haven't really.
Yeah, that I got trouble with.
Okay.
Enough on there.
And that's something that we can kind of work on and something that we'll continue to cultivate and grow. But is it easier to do now than it was at week one?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Does it feel more natural at this point? And it should. That's why, and we were looking for those of us, or those of you that weren't with us in the first hour, we were looking at the spreadsheet, working through the 6 weeks of intensity. And here in week 4, your goal is still 0 for listings and buyer contracts. But starting in week 5, now those goals start to have numbers in them. Because again, as you guys have worked through 4 weeks of establishing these habits and building these routines, now is when, 30 to 45 days is when you guys should start seeing some of the fruit of those actions. Now, what appointments should you be setting for your afternoons? Okay. Previewing for sale by owners. Yeah. What else?
Looking at houses that's on the market. Or...
Okay. Getting to know the area. Okay. What about setting up your social media posts or making live videos or so these are the kinds of things. Your morning should be carved out. That's your prospecting. That's your 9 to 11 or whatever it is that you do. But your afternoon should be out in the community, showing houses, working with buyers, taking listing appointments if you can get them, whatever it is. Your afternoon should be focused on your business, getting to know your area. Let's be real. We probably won't have a listing appointment or a buyer's appointment every day of the week. But what if I'm working in a certain area and I can go in a coffee shop and just do a quick Facebook Live video? Hey guys, I'm sitting here at Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, Panera location, and I'm reviewing homes that are for sale in the market area. Brushing up on my skills to make sure that I can be the best agent possible. I'm really excited. Just wanted to share with you guys what I'm up to. Was that a terribly long video? No. Relatively painless? But this is something, what does that do? All the people that you've been calling, you're just reinforcing yourself as that expert. I'm taking the time to become good at my craft. Well, if they have one realtor friend that's always posting videos about, hey, I'm getting ready to go show houses, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm working in the business, even if I don't have a huge book of clients yet, I am actively working at my craft versus, oh yeah, my next door neighbor's an agent, but I have no idea what she does every day. Which one do you think they're going to put more credibility to?
The one they see.
Absolutely. So that's the value. Your afternoons, if you don't have a listing appointment, buyers to show, go preview homes. Let people know what you're doing. Create that foundation of trust. Because again, anybody who's been in my classes for any period of time know the 3 things that a client has to have to be loyal and to work with you is they have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. Without those 3 things, you cannot have loyal clients. And knowing and liking, that can happen pretty quick. The trust part is the one that takes some time. So give them reasons to trust you. Show them what you're actually out there doing. Now we're going to kind of transition and talk about some of the tools and products that are offered for free, mind you, from Florida Luxury Realty to help you guys be successful. Before we move on, does anybody have any questions about the routines and, kind of your goal setting or anything like that?
I have some questions for some of the guys who, I haven't started last Wednesday.
Sure.
This is week 4. When you guys are prospecting in the mornings, who exactly are you guys prospecting to primarily?
Well, until this last week, I was trying to go to my sphere influence, but this last week I started going outside my sphere and talking to other people.
I do it at stores. I just
Yeah,
stand there and wherever I do business at, like if I go take my kids to the dentist, if I take them to the doctors, everywhere I go, I just start talking to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So your sphere of influence is what we call your lowest hanging fruit. So those are the people that have already established a level of knowledge. Hopefully they like you, and they're more likely to trust you. You know, they may know that you're new in the business, but they're more willing to give you the chance to establish that type of business. So that's what we want to really start with. It could be friends that you haven't talked to in a while, and the phone call is simple as, hey, John, I haven't talked to you in a year. Just wanted to check and see how things are going. You know, how are the kids? Go on Facebook, spend 5 minutes and look and see some of the things that they've done. Oh, I saw on Facebook you were in a golf tournament last weekend. How did that go? Just anything to make conversation, to be able to build that dialogue. And then inevitably you roll it back to, hey, so I'm actually in real estate. You know, if you know of anybody that's looking to buy or sell, would you be willing to give them my name and number? That's the kind of thing. So, all right, so let's talk about some of the tools and resources. The first one is DigiSigner. Now, DigiSigner is the electronic signing system that we have through our back office. Because of your affiliation with Florida Luxury Realty, you actually get the unlimited pro version of DigiSigner. And it's great because the simplicity of this program is kind of the beauty to it. You know, I have used Dotloop and Form Simplicity and Transaction Desk and have Apple. I can't even remember what the Apple one was, but one of the offices I was with used the Apple system, and they're all so different that you can't hardly wrap your head around them. And the beauty of DigiSigner is it's a pretty simplistic and straightforward platform, both for us as the initiator and then for the clients as the end user. So it's point and click navigation. You don't have to have a bunch of additional software that your clients are going to have to download to be able to use it. And they can sign right from their phone. And that's the great part of this, is you can actually go in and they can just draw their signature on their phone and then click and put it right into the document. So it's not as cumbersome as, hey, I've got to go in and do it on my PC and all of that. It's very mobile friendly. And when we go through some of these, I can actually go in and show you guys how some of these programs work in the back office. Now, our marketing center, we were just talking about this before the class began. Our Florida Luxury Marketing Center is a marketing service that automatically designs great, stunning digital and print marketing materials for your listed properties. Every time a key event occurs in the life of your listing, a new set of marketing material for that event gets sent to you by email. So let's say, for example, you get a new listing. Within about an hour of your listing going live in the MLS, you're going to get an email from the back office that says, hey, here's your just listed flyer. Here's your social media post. Here's all these things that you need. Here's your postcard for mailers. It gets sent to you automatically. Let's say it's on the market for 30 days and we do a price reduction. As soon as that price reduction hits the MLS, within about an hour or so, you get an email that goes, hey, here's all new marketing with your new price that says price adjusted. You're going to get all of that, excuse me, right from the back office. So whether it's a new price, an open house, you get it sold, it all gets sent to you automatically. And then Smarter Agent. So we should all be aware of our Florida Luxury app. And the great part is, there we go. The great part is this app is actually driven by Smarter Agent. It is specifically a real estate platform that does phenomenally well. I've come from some of the big brokers, and the app that we have is worlds ahead of even some of the big guys. Now, the app is a powerful mobile tool that directly links your home buyers to you. So no matter what property they're looking at, it's only going to have your contact information in there. Now, if they go to Zillow, are they going to see half a dozen agents that they could call? Absolutely. So this is a way that you can solidify that relationship because the only person they can call is you. So there's immense value in that. Buyers do get access directly from MLS listings. Excuse me. So as soon as those things get active in the MLS, they feed to this app.
I was actually going to ask, does it refresh in real time?
I think it refreshes every 90 seconds.
Okay.
90 to 120 seconds.
Because I actually have been looking into like Zillow, and it refreshes once a day,
right?
For example. So
some of Zillow's servers refresh every 3 days.
Jeez. So
yeah, so this is pretty close to real time. And the good thing is this is true MLS data. This is not like some of the data that comes from Zillow, where it goes out to a third-party source and then it goes to another party source and then it goes to where, you know, the end user. This is directly fed from an IDX feed in our MLS. And then from your back-end dashboard, you can actually see the properties that your buyers are looking at or have marked as their favorites, as long as you as agents have logged into your app. And we can talk about how to do that. I'm actually going to be creating a video on the FLR app probably in the next week or two.
It's fantastic. Get everybody.
Yeah, everybody you can use that to get it out to, you want to for sure. And then the 1-800 lead capture signs. So this is a great product, essentially, that gets put as a rider. So let me actually hide this so you guys can see it. There we go. It goes on the bottom of your signs. Now, what we found about people in general is they don't want to call the number on the sign. They just want the information. So if you put this pre-recorded information out there, people are exponentially more likely, and I think, yeah, it's 8 times more likely to get a lead than you would if you just had your phone number on there. Because people don't really want to talk to the agent, they just want to know the information. So if you can do that, you get 8 times more calls. And the value of that is, well, they think they're just going to get an automated recording, but you get a phone call, or you get a text message and an email with their phone number that says, hey, this person just requested information on this listing. Now, while they're still sitting outside that listing, you can call and go, hey, I just saw that you requested information. Just wanted to see if you had any additional questions, or if there was anything else that I could answer for you that the automated message did not. Sometimes they're like, oh yeah, it's right in our price point. We've been driving around. We love this neighborhood. We just saw this house go on the market. We schedule a time to take a look at it. Absolutely. Let me coordinate with the seller if it's owner occupied, whatever. And I'd be happy to schedule that for you. It captures their name, their phone number, and then instantly texts and emails it to you. And like I said, you can immediately follow up with them. Now, the next one is My Transactions. So this is basically our CRM system in the back office. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Transactions. This is not our CRM yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. The transaction management system is where we upload all of our documents and maintain all of our compliance. So it's efficient, it's robust, and what we found was using our back office system, you save about 400% more time because of how streamlined this system is. So you can do it anywhere that you have an internet connected device. You can do it on your phone if you have the file saved on your phone or in your cloud. You can actually work it from a phone system as well. Adding compliance documents is literally as simple as dragging and dropping or automatically importing from a custom transaction email address. Did you guys know that when you go into a transaction, you have an email address at the top? Have you ever noticed it? No? Okay. When we're done, I'll go in and show it to you. But basically, you could actually, if you get your documents back from DigiSign, you can forward that email to this custom email address, and it will drop all of those attachments right into your transactions.
So DigiSign supposed to be on your phone?
It doesn't have to be.
Oh, it could be on your.
Oh. Absolutely. So the DigiSigner integration makes the handling and signing of documents super fast and simple so that you have 100% control of managing your business, or all of your businesses, at the same time. So the smart lead capture. Now this is a fairly new tool to Florida Luxury. I think we rolled it out February. I think it was February or March. And Florida Luxury Realty, we capture the most valuable leads from your actively listed properties using an automated listing Facebook post builder. So what's cool about this is it automatically generates this post for you. You can share it out into all the home buyer groups and all these other places where potential buyers would be, and you can actually get real-time leads for free. So you're not having to pay for Facebook advertising. You're not having to pay for any of that. You're just posting this lead, or you're posting this listing out there so that you could be able to get free buyers. Now, as far as I know, Florida Luxury is one of the only companies that offers this. And it takes you to a single listing website where they go there and they can see the first 5 or 6 photos. And then if they want to be able to see the rest, they have to give you their information. Now, what's great with that is if they don't want to give you their information, in all likelihood, they're not a ready, willing, and able buyer. So it weeds out some of those, what I call the tire kickers, because these are people that are more likely to actually become real buyers. So you're able to pick up free listings. And then the cool thing is, once the leads are captured, they get automatically added to your My Contacts CRM. So that has the integration in there that when they put their information into that lead page, it automatically gets kicked right into your CRM. So that way you have the analytics to be able to measure the success and see where these leads are coming from. If I post to this group, I get 10 clicks. If I post to this group, I get 25 clicks. So you know where you're going to get the best traction out of those posts.
Also, the nice thing about that is that those leads, even though they're being provided to you through internet, and are your leads.
Correct. They stay exclusively to you.
And not 20 people that you're fighting.
Exactly. I'm going to send it to 5 agents, and whoever the first one to click on it is the one that gets it. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Not fun. Now, the Forms Wizard. We played with this a little bit earlier this morning, but it's our proprietary Form Wizard. It's one of the associates' favorite productivity tools. I'll tell you, it's one of mine. So we have it to where it's not just blank documents, but they have the form fill fields. So you can actually go in and fill out all the documents. But even before you get there, you pop up with the Form Wizard, and it asks you a series of questions, whether it's a buyer form wizard or a listing form wizard. It'll ask you 5 or 6 questions. What type of home, what type of buyer, those kinds of things. And based on the answers of those questions, it will automatically generate all of the forms that you need for that transaction. They all come together as a single PDF file. So that way you have it where you can just pop it in and you're good to go. Now, the My Contacts CRM, we touched on this briefly. But a CRM is your customer relationship manager. And it does exactly what it says. It manages the relationships with your customers. So you go in, you put in their information, you can send them the monthly newsletter, you can go in and follow up with them, you can keep all your notes, you can keep referral information, all sorts of things that help you run your business more effectively. Date stamped conversation and task logs, appointment follow-up schedules, things like that. And then personal promotion and smart marketing literature. So like I said, when you get a new listing, it's going to email you all the information that you need. But let's say, for example, that you're doing a buyer presentation. You're meeting with a new buyer. You can actually go in and print out the buyer packet. And it's going to have information about you. It's going to have valuable information that your buyer would want to know. Different things like that to really help you kind of keep everything together. It has your professional photo and contact information on the bottom of each page. So it's customized to you. It's not, hey, here's Florida Luxury Realty, which is this amazing company. But hey, this is Tiana with Florida Luxury. It's going to have your name and your photo at the bottom of all of these to help you stand out and to solidify that relationship with your client. Now we have our digital home magazine. This is a really cool product. It's something that a lot of time and energy has really gone into, and it gets syndicated to over 100,000 interested home buyers throughout the United States and Canada. So if you've got a listing, it gets put in here to be able to syndicate out to all of these, and all of the listings in here are exclusive to Florida Luxury Realty. We're not promoting anybody else's listings, just ours. And they're all right here in the West Coast region. Do you guys have any questions about that so far? All right. Go ahead.
What exactly services does the CRM provide? It's one of the few things I haven't really touched on very much yet.
Sure. When we wrap up with this, we'll go dig into it, and I can kind of show what it does and how it works. I want to take you guys into the marketing center, and I want to show you some of the DigiSign integration as well, but that's a great question. So before we jump over, I want to kind of leave you with this, even though I'm not really leaving you. Some people dream of success while others wake up and work hard for it. So the difference between a dream and a goal is a plan. A lot of people dream for success. I want to be successful in real estate. But how many of those people are willing to get out of bed and make the prospecting calls and do the things that you need to do to really be effective? Unfortunately, the short answer is not very many. So, give me just a second. Let me back out of here. I'm going off so you guys don't have to stare at my forehead. Okay. Now, let's go back over here into the back office. And let's take a look. I'll probably have to log in. Nope, no. All right, so let's start here with this My Contacts. And in here, we have the option to add a contact or delete contacts. So we're just going to click on Add a New Contact. With it, it's going to ask you for their name, their company, if you have a category, buyer, seller, an active listing, if they're in your farm area, whatever the case may be. You can put in their email address, cell phone numbers. You can also put in their spouse's information. I encourage you guys to put in as much of this information as you can possibly get.
Are there any, is there a field, I can't see one, for like notes, for example, like last property there and up there?
So right here. So the next tab over takes you to notes, and this is where you can actually go in and put in your, I typically will go in and say, hey, talk to them about, you know, wanting a 3-2 in Wesley Chapel or whatever the case may be. Put those notes in. So when they call a year from now or 6 months from now, and you're like, oh, I remember the name, but I have no idea what we talked about. That's where this notes section comes in really handy. When you go over to Other, this little gray box on the right-hand side, before you subscribe to the newsletter, verify the email address. So you can use one of the free services to confirm that their email address is valid. You can actually go in and just verify it. So what happens is we don't want to end up on any spam filters. And if the system sees that we're emailing a bunch of fake email addresses, then it's going to kind of flag us. But what we want is by checking yes, you validated the above email address, and it sends them this monthly newsletter. So this newsletter is pretty short. It's kind of a one-page little summary. It's got a couple of clickable links, and it's just nice information that gets branded to you specifically. So when it comes out, everybody that's in your database is going to have your information at the bottom, which is really kind of cool.
One last question.
Sure.
Is there any way to sync it up with, let's say, my Google Contacts?
You could import your Google Contacts into this CRM, and then you could do it that way. But you would have to have them in this database to be able to mail it.
How would I go about importing it?
Bill has a spreadsheet, and actually I think I've got the spreadsheet saved. I can email to you, and you just put the information in the right columns and then email it to Bill, and he can actually upload all of that right into your back office.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then we have this testimonial tab. So at the end of a closing, when the system generates that a closing has occurred, it will actually email, if you've identified this client with that transaction, it will actually send them a testimonial request so that you can grab those testimonials and have them on your Florida Luxury website and on your marketing and different things like that. There's not an effective way at this point to be able to syndicate them to Realtor.com or Zillow, because they still keep all of their testimonials as their proprietary testimonials. So we don't have a way to feed them out to them, unfortunately. But having these testimonials just lends credibility to you as the salesperson. So let's go back to the main screen here, and then let's go into this My Marketing and the Design Center. Now, when we come in here, I'll just grab one of my active listings just to show you guys. So you have this social media image. You can do a just listed, under contract, back on the market, if you sold it, if you're doing an open house. So if, for example, the open house is already put into the MLS, it will automatically generate this information for you. So we always encourage agents to go in and put your open house in the MLS first, because then it will syndicate out to Zillow, to Homes.com, to all those places. Now, the one caveat to that is when you post the open house in the MLS, make it public. You have a couple of different options: private, MLS wide, or public. If you make it public, that's where it'll syndicate out to everybody. If it's just MLS wide, it does not. So we have our social media image. Now, let's say, for example, that I'm doing an open house on somebody else's listing. We can actually go in and, or let's say I'm the listing agent, but I'm creating this for, let's just say Christina, since she's up top. I can actually go in here. So let's just say we're going to do it just listed. I have two options down here. I have manual or auto. All this does is determine which image gets used. If I click auto, it's going to generate with the first photo from the MLS. If I click manual, I can choose what listing or what photo I want. In this case, I do actually just want the first photo, but all of them import from the MLS. So we'll just create image here. So now you'll notice that it actually has Christina's information at the top instead of mine, because I generated this for someone else. So I can either click on the image to share it to social media, which on this one, I don't have my Facebook link to it. Or I can download the image and then upload it. So let's go back. Let's talk about the other options. So we have the printable flyer. Again, you can choose which banner, if you want the banner on the top right or top left. You can do just listed. You could do any number of those that you want. The other thing I point out that a lot of agents may not be aware of, on the MLS, it puts that Realtor unbranded virtual walkthrough tour on your listing. It's kind of crappy, but I didn't say that. What you can do is you can actually come in here and copy this link down at the bottom, this unbranded for MLS link, and replace the one that gets generated automatically in the MLS, and it is a much higher quality tour. Let me see if I can actually just pop this up here.
So I can put the link that she currently has on YouTube in there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this would be the virtual tour that's branded to Florida Luxury.
As long as it has no contact info or anything on it.
Right.
Because MLS.
We'll flag it. That's why we have this unbranded one. And I'll show you kind of what this looks like. With this, it doesn't have any Florida Luxury branding whatsoever, but it is a much better quality looking tour than anything that gets automatically generated. So I do encourage you guys, when you have new listings, to go in here and grab this unbranded tour and drop this in on your listing. It's just something a lot of agents don't know about. Now, like I said, when you have a new listing, you're going to get emailed this jumbo card, but for whatever reason, if you wanted to generate a new one or you wanted to change the photos that were on it, let's say we're going to do an under contract. I want it done for me, but I want to choose different photos. Now it shows you this layout. So the big picture will be photo 1. So that's what I want that one to be. Photo 2 will be top left. So yeah, we'll do pool. Photo 3, let's do the living room. Photo 4, we'll do the kitchen. And then photo 5, doesn't really matter. We'll just do the bathroom. I can come down here and create this flyer. So now what it does is it generates this jumbo postcard for me. And because this listing is over 500,000, I'm given 2 options. I can download the regular front, or I could download the luxury front. And I'll just show you guys the difference. This is the front of the card on the regular listing, which still looks great. Notice it's got my information at the bottom. Or I can go to the luxury one, which just has a little bit of a different look to it. So this versus that. The luxury just has kind of a different look to it. It has where luxury lives across the bottom. It's just a unique look for our luxury listings. I also have the option to download both. So if I download both, then what it is it's the front of my card and the back of my card. And then I can literally send this to the printer, have them generate it, and mail it out. So it's a great, simple product, something that's really easy to use. And then the last thing I wanted to show you, I can show you guys these flyers. The PDF flyers, they're pretty straightforward. Let's just do this one in auto. So my just listed flyer is going to come in. Let's do the luxury one just to show you guys what it looks like. This is my single just listed flyer. So this might be a good thing that you'd want to use for an open house, something like that. All the additional photos, if they scan this QR code, it'll actually take them right to that single agent website for this particular home.
So that single agent website, is that the lead capture website? Or no?
It's actually, I don't know which one this sends it to be honest. I haven't looked at it. I would imagine,
because I'm going to be marketing an open house really soon on most of the groups, and I want to be able to have that lead capture.
So this one is just a PDF. So I would actually use the social media one that will take you to your landing page and all of that. Yeah. Were you going to say something?
I just have a suggestion. When I did social media, I had to make my own cover pages.
Okay.
And I figured that would be another good one that you could have up there.
Absolutely.
Considering all I did was just take a photo of one of my neighbor's houses, which I thought was pretty.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to use a Google image because I figured you'd
Right.
be right. But,
Sure. Exactly.
But I'm just saying, like, you can make a quick template for that real quick. It's, like I said, it's just a suggestion.
No, it's a great suggestion. I'll have to talk to Bill and see how we can implement that.
Yeah, just for my Facebook business webpage.
Right. No, it's a great idea. Okay, what was the other thing? There was one other thing I wanted to touch on with you guys. CRM, oh, the form wizard. Let's just take a look at that real quick, because this is something I do get questions on quite a bit. So under forms, we have a buyer form wizard and our seller form wizard, or we have them right here as buttons. So we have the listing form wizard and the buyer form wizard. So we'll just take a look at the buyer just so you guys can get an idea of what it looks like. For the property type, is it residential? Is it a condo? Is it vacant land? We're going to say it's residential. Do you already have a signed broker disclosure to buyer form? So this is the form that is required by compliance to be able to have your deal. With this, so let's say, for example, I'm working with a buyer. We write up an offer, but we get outbid. And now we're writing up an offer on another home. Well, I already had this form signed with the first property, so I don't need to have it generated again. So in this case, I'm going to say, yes, I already have it. We've done it before. I don't need it. Actually, I'm going to say no so I can show it to you guys. Do you need a community or condo association writer? No, or the seller's providing it to me, which is if the home is in a condo or an HOA community, that should be the one that you would choose, because hopefully the seller has done their job and put those forms in the MLS like they're supposed to. If not, we want to include the HOA writer or an HOA and CDD writer or a condo writer. In this case, we're going to say no, the seller did their job, we don't have to have it. For the method of purchase, is it cash with an appraisal? Is it cash without an appraisal? Is it conventional or is it FHA? Why do you think it matters what their financing is?
Because you're gonna have all different forms depending on the financing.
Absolutely. So if they're cash with an appraisal contingency, it's going to print your appraisal contingency form. If they're conventional, we don't have to have any additional addenda. Or if they're FHA VA, it will print the FHA VA addendum with it. In this case, we'll just say they're conventional.
What's an appraisal contingency?
So basically, if it's a cash buyer, there's no presumption that the seller or that the buyer is going to have an appraisal. So in the standard contract, there's no protection. If they do have an appraisal, then we want that appraisal contingency that says, even though I'm paying cash, part of the terms of my sale is that the home would appraise for the value that I'm offering to pay. Some cash buyers say, no, I'm not going to pay the $500 for an appraisal. I'm paying cash. I don't have to have it. You know, I'm just agreeing to pay this price. Now, is the buyer requesting the seller to pay their closing costs? We're going to say yes, just so I can show you what it does. Let's say we've got an FHA first-time home buyer or a VA buyer that needs down payment assistance from the seller. In this case, we're going to say we're asking for 2% of the purchase price or a flat amount. So let me take this back out. And let's say we're asking for the seller to contribute $3,200 toward the purchase price. Now, was the home built before 1978? Well, what's the importance with that?
That's the paint disclosure.
The lead-based paint. So if the home was built before 1978, then either yes, I need the lead-based paint disclosure because the seller's a slacker or the seller's agent's a slacker and didn't put it in the MLS, or yes, but the seller did their job and that lead-based paint disclosure is being provided by the seller. And then is the seller or condo providing a property disclosure form? Well, in this case, if they're not, then we can print one out and request that the seller actually fill it out. You really want, especially if you're working for a buyer, you want to have that seller's disclosure because it outlines all the questions that your buyer really wants to know. You can't force a seller to do it, but if the seller's not willing to do the property disclosure, then there may be something they're trying to hide. And, you know, either we're going to make sure that our inspector goes through this with a fine-tooth comb to look for anything that may be amiss, or maybe we go looking for another property. Now, down here at the bottom, we have the Select Additional Forms button. These are some others that we might need. So if the home is in a flood zone, we might want this homeowner's flood insurance. So it's just another layer of protection that says within a certain number of days, my buyer is going to get a flood quote. And if that flood quote ends up being too high that it throws their ability to purchase out of whack, then we would actually be able to withdraw because the flood insurance costs were too high. I typically, if I'm showing homes in a flood zone, I typically send the addresses to one of the insurance people that I know and say, hey, can you run me sample quotes? Obviously, it may not be 100% on the nose because we may have to have an elevation certificate or something, but there should be some information they can give me, at least a worst case scenario. If they come back and go, hey, flood insurance could be as much as $4,000 on this property, well, that's something I want my buyer to know before we get too far into the process. The other one is the sale of the buyer's property. So let's say that I've got a buyer that has a home to sell. They have to sell their home before they're able to buy this other one. I need to include this additional addendum to say, hey, my buyer does have a home to sell, and you know it is or it is not under contract, blah, 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 and put that in there. There are others off the right-hand side. These are pretty uncommon, so you may use them, you may not. It's kind of a case by case. So in this case, let's just generate this package. Now, you know how I said it was going to generate that testimonial link? That works if you have them in your leads here. So in this case, we're going to say Bob Sample is my buyer, and Florida Luxury is my seller. I can grab the MLS ID. So let's say I know, obviously I'm gonna know what my MLS ID is. If I put that in here, it's actually going to fill out the street address and all the legal description and all of that. It automatically populates it for me. So that's one less thing that I'm going to have to go in and go looking for. In this case, let's just do this. And well, let me go back. Okay, so we'll just download the contract package. Now, what's really cool is because I answered those questions, it generated every form I need. So the truth in lending form, the wire fraud prevention, our broker disclosure to buyer. So again, we talked about this is the one that's required for compliance. So this is our 2 pages for that. The 12-page contract. I'll just scroll through this. 12. And then because we said that this home was built before 1978, we have to provide this lead-based paint disclosure. And then we also have this energy efficiency disclosure. So as part of our buyer broker agreement, it says that we are giving them this information, so it automatically gets generated for you. Do you guys have any questions about that? No. Does anybody online have any questions? Okay. All right, so no questions there. Okay. All right. Do we have any other questions about any of the marketing, anything in the back office, anything that, you know, you guys have? And I'll pull this back up online. If any of you guys have a question online, feel free to put it in there.
Lead capture link.
Oh, the smart. Okay. Thank you. So off to the right, we have this smart lead capture. So when you click on this, you can either grab your listing if you have one, or if it's somebody else's listing, you need to create a new listing authorization form. The new listing authorization form goes in and you put in the property MLS ID of whoever's listing it is, and it generates that form for you. In this case, we'll just use mine so I can show you guys what it looks like. Oh, actually, let me go back here. There's one other thing. This tutorial video is really helpful as well. So if you click on this, it will actually give you a video to talk you through some of the things on how to use it. Now, in this case, like I said, we'll just grab this listing. It shows you the photo layout. So photo 1 is top left. Photo 2 will be right below it. Photo 3, hiccup, sorry. Now, I have a list of button options. So go, find out more. Yes, I want to see more. Get started. Send me property details. Whatever. I'll just say send me the property details. When a lead comes in, it can send you an email, send you a text, and create a record in My Leads. I typically would leave all 3 of those checked. I want to be notified as many ways as possible. When you come in here, it now has step-by-step instructions right here. Assign photo categories for detail page. Oh, that's new. I don't know what that does. Hang on. Oh, there we go. So on your photo, then you could choose living room, dining room, things like that. That's really cool.
Is this, you can do this if someone else listed it as well?
As long as you have the authorization form. So once you get it back, you would upload it. And then what would happen is once you have that MLS authorization form, right here where it says other agents listings, that listing will actually pop up in this list. So you can go in and create it right from there.
Okay, so I will get there when I upload it, I'll just email it to the agent that.
Correct. Yep, exactly.
There wouldn't be any reason why another agent would want you to have that. So
No, not at all. I mean, you're just marketing their listing. You're trying to get it sold. You're ultimately working to the same goal.
Unless it's under sellers, preferences, like don't put it online or something
True.
stupid like that.
Yeah, but in this day and age, everybody wants it everywhere because they want to get it sold. They know buyers come from the MLS, from the internet. All right, so let me go back to next. Oops. Free property details. So now, like I said, it has these instructions. Log into your Facebook account, change to the page that you're posting to. So this would typically be your business page. From the Smart Lead Capture page, which is right here, you want to right-click on the image and copy image. Then you'll go over to your Facebook page, and where it says write something, you'll just right-click and select paste. So let me see if I can go into my Facebook here and show you guys. And I can do this a different way, but sorry, the internet's being slow. All right, so in here, I'm going to right-click and I'm going to paste. So now I have my 5-in-1 photo down there. And then I'm going to click to copy. I'm going to copy the body. And then I'm going to post this right here. And I'm going to share it now. I can actually schedule this. So if I didn't want to post it right this second, I could schedule when this post would go out. For right now, I'm just going to post it now. And then when it posts, there we go. It has this link right here that people can click on, or if they can click the image. When they click the image, it takes them in here. Oh, no, it doesn't do that anymore. Just kidding. Okay, so now it has the link. So it says to view all 50 photos of this property, give me your first name, your last name, your email, and your phone number. And then that yes, I want to see more comes in, or give Greg a call at this number. The photos that are in there, it says submit the form to be able to access everything you want for this property. So let's just do this. Doesn't do, there we go. It takes me back to the form. So let's just do this. Greg Blackall. And I want to see more. So now my cell phone is actually buzzing in my pocket to let me know, hey, by the way, you just got a new lead. FLR Facebook ad notification. Greg Blackall, there's the number, there's the phone number, and there's my subject property. I also just got an email that popped up that said, hey, this information is all right there. So it happens that fast. Now, what I can do is I can take this post, and I can actually share it to a page, share it to a group, things like that. I can go into, what is it, Tampa Bay, my new listing. I can go into this My New Listing Tampa Bay agents, and I could do the same thing. I could post that information. So paste, and then if I come back over here and I just copy image, come over here, paste, there we go. I could do the same thing in here. Post my 5-in-1 image, post this, and then post it out to this group. It looks like Michelle, one of our other agents, actually just did this. Let me look at hers. So your dream home. So she shared a post, tons of information. Actually, it doesn't look like that's one of the smart ones. Yeah. Deanna Selva Cruz is another one of our agents. She just posted this into this page, and it's kind of a slideshow video. So you can actually generate images. Generate leads. This is an agent page, but what it may do, there's some that are client facing. You'll be able to actually generate leads from this page. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like if she had one of those virtual tours,
Mm-hmm.
she got it there on Facebook. I mean, clearly it was showing, the whole tour off.
Right.
And then she has that link in there also. So now, oh, look, this looks great. Link,
Yep.
lead generation.
You got it. Absolutely.
Great.
So that's the Smart tool. This is basically a way for you to generate free Facebook leads. Now let me go back. Does anybody else have any questions online? No? All right. Were there any other questions? Anything else you guys wanted me to walk through with you? No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for being with me today.